So at this time, I would like to welcome the PGA owner and general manager of Hidden Hills Country Club, the candidate for Secretary of the PGA of America from the North Florida section, Mr. Russ Libby.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. I really enjoyed the time we had together last night. Thanks for the opportunity to sit down with you and chat, get to know you a little bit better, and also share a little bit about me. So I really appreciate that. And I want to thank you for joining me as we embark on our next great PGA century. I'm excited to be here with you as we kick things off here in Los Angeles for this very, very special centennial year. I want to thank President John McNair with the Southern California PGA. John, thank you. All of Southern California PGA professionals that are here and hosting us. Scott Ashworth, District 11, thank you for hosting. And this is a really special event and a good one to kick this off. It's been 2 years since I stood here before you and announced my candidacy in 2014. And I've had the opportunity to form lasting friendships with many of you in this room. I've learned a great deal about you. I've learned about your sections, the challenges that you face, and your strengths and your weaknesses, particularly in this part of the country out here. My passion comes from 20 years of consecutive leadership service on the chapter, on the section, on national committees, and on the National Board of Control. I'm going to ask you something. Would you agree with me that our PGA members are our greatest assets? I believe they are. They're the foundation for our strong sections and chapters, which are really the keys to the PGA of America's success. Our members must be engaged, they must be mentored, and most importantly, they've got to be inspired if we're going to unlock their full potential. My platform rests under two really simple but very important words: growth and opportunity for our members, our sections, and the game. And ours is a massive association, 41 very unique sections spanning 3.8 million square miles, 24,000 members, 4,000 apprentices, and sustaining a $76 billion industry with 16,000 golf facilities and nearly 25 million golfers. When you consider it in those terms, it's a little bit daunting and thrilling all at the same time. My goal today, though, is to break things down into simpler terms for you and identify what I feel our priorities should be, what our strategy should be for us, again, to reach our full potential. You know, our founding fathers created a simple foundation when they met in 1916. It was about our PGA members, it was about the game, and it was about our sections. And here we are 100 years later, and that mission is really still pure. And I'd like to talk to you today about growth and opportunity and how it can support these three very important areas. We must continuously strive to provide an arsenal of education and training resources for our members. And I really feel strongly about this. When our members are at their best, we are at our best. When our members are at their best, we are at our best. And it's not just about MSRs, right? It's about stimulating growth and stimulating and creating opportunities. My time on the National Board of Control gave me some understanding of the geographical issues and challenges that you have out here in the Western region. And communicating with you over the past couple of years has confirmed what I believe the value of online education, particularly in the remote areas of your sections. And we've made some tremendous strides here. We've increased with accessibility, affordability, career-specific programs that are really helping our members reach and strive to get to their full potential. And it goes without saying that these opportunities, we need to continuously look at them. They must be meaningful, they must be updated, and they must include an assessment component. Since we retooled the certified professional program, we've really seen some growth in participation. We now have over 1,000 CPP certifications out there. And what I would do is I would really work harder to increase the marketing behind these. I'd like to add some testimonials from our best and brightest out there in the country to explain how these programs have actually positively impacted them and particularly helped them create more value, enhance their careers. The CPP and the MPP, they're not the end-all, be-all, but they are wonderful tools for our members to reach higher towards the stars. And I think they're well worth our investment. Additionally, I'm pleased with some of the new things we've seen this year. PGA.org, we rolled it out in January, and there's tremendous amount of tools and information on there. It took us a while to figure it out. In all honesty, the new tutorial components of it have really helped our PGA members navigate through it. But what a tremendous opportunity. And we've really just hit the tip of the iceberg there on what that particular program and what that tool can do for us. The newly created PGA Verified, another great opportunity for us that's coming down the pike here to help us with teaching and the technological part of that industry, particularly with teaching. I'm also excited about what Paul referenced yesterday, the PGA simulation. Dawes Marlett and his team down at headquarters have really put together an outstanding program, and that's going to be launched through the sections this fall. Let's talk a little bit about local education. We've had some good success in North Florida with our chapter mentoring and education programs. We survey our members, we reach out to them, we ask them questions, and we want answers that will really help us to identify how they can be happier in their lives and more successful in their careers. And then we tailor career-specific, dynamic programs that are affordable and meaningful and easily attainable. And we've had great success on that local level. And we're not the only ones doing a great job. North Florida's had some success, but we see successful programs all across the country. Pacific Northwest has a great program that they did last month called Sweet 16, where the members could pick up 16 MSRs in just a couple of days. I think it was up at Coeur d'Alene. Southern California continues to amaze me with the great programs that they do. Business workshops that really help their PGA professionals become rainmakers and drive revenue at their facilities. And we're seeing those types of programs all over the country. But what we need to do is to better share these success stories and really create some blueprints for success that other chapters, other sections can use to achieve that same success. We can be much better here, I believe, and I intend to lead that charge in education. In the end, coupling education opportunities, those traditional face-to-face opportunities, with this online is a perfect mix. And I believe both are very, very important. And together they can really help us to sustain comprehensive, award-winning education programs for our members that really enhance their expertise. And again, as Paul mentioned yesterday, impacts them and helps them, again, be happier in their lives and better at what they do day in and day out. By doing this, they're going to really expand their role at their facilities, create upward mobility, and in the end, increase value to their employers. Let's talk a little bit about employment. As a member of the National Employment Committee, I've been able to have discussions with some of the brightest minds in the country. And we've been looking for ways to increase job opportunities, wage growth for our members. A sobering fact is when we look at compensation surveys over the last decade, we've actually seen that median income for our PGA professionals across the board has flattened. As a matter of fact, when we factor in inflationary and cost of living indexes, we're actually most of our PGA professionals are making less than they were a decade ago. They're making less than they were a decade ago. And certainly the Great Recession, economic woes, global uncertainty have played their part in our game and in the wages and the jobs for our PGA members. And it's something that we've had to deal with. I want to share you a little story about a PGA member that I've reached out to. He's from this part of the country, and his name's Tim Bacher. He's a head golf professional at Double Arrow Golf Course up in Montana. When I first called him, he picked up the phone and he couldn't talk to me. because he was chasing these two little ones around, Graham and Grayson. So he called me back, and this time of the year, you see, his club's closed, and so he spends his time taking care of the kids. His wife, Julie, is a physical therapist, and she works 4 days a week. When the spring comes and his club opens up, they put the kids in daycare, and he travels an hour up to his club in the morning and an hour back home. Tim's one of thousands of golf professionals, PGA golf professionals out there that are working hard. They're working hard trying to make ends meet. The logging industry up in Montana has really taken a hit here in recent years. And he told me that his core golfers, the golfers that really supported him in those shoulder seasons, they've had to leave the town. They've had to leave the town to seek work elsewhere because of the economic problems that they're facing. And it's impacted him. It's impacted his club. But despite these challenging circumstances, he's not throwing in the towel. He's motivated. He's proud to be a PGA member. And I have to tell you, he was really pleased and excited to receive my call. And all I wanted to do was identify how the PGA of America could help him. When we reach out to people like Tim, we get valuable feedback on what they need to help them be better at their jobs and advance their career. And we made an impact with Tim. And in that whole process, what we created was buy-in. And we motivate, we inspire. Tim was gracious, he was thankful, and when we got off the phone, I really think he was motivated to try and do more things for his club and his family. And not that he wasn't before I picked up the phone and called him, that's not my point, but it's about outreach. And we made an impact with Tim. Just think how much success we can have if we can galvanize the strength of all 28,000 members behind us. We can really make some positive strides there. I want to share with you some other areas that I think we can make some positive strides in member employment, and particularly in wage growth and job opportunities. It starts with outreach and feedback, and I've talked to you about this quite a bit. Last night we spoke a good deal on this, is we've got to reach out and do a better job of asking our executive directors, our section leaders, and also national staff what we need to make things better locally on the employment front. But I would say this, the most important component here is the executive directors. They are the common thread. Officers come and go every 2 years, right? But the executive directors, for the most part, really have their finger on the pulse of what they need locally to really perform in the area of employment. Number 2, best practices. There are many sections out there that are having great success in employment, right? We need to get them to share those success stories with us and really create some blueprints for success. Number 3, I want to create a task force of dual PGA members. We have many of them that are PGA members and club managers. We have dual members that are PGA members and NGCOA members. We have one in the room that's on the board of the NGCOA. And we need to take that group together as a task force and sit down with those allied associations, with Jay Karen, with Jeff Morgan, and identify perhaps where our skill set is lacking and how we can work together to get ourselves together out of some of the industry issues that we're dealing with. But at every turn, we speak of the PGA professional as the most talented, most qualified individual to help drive top-line growth at facilities around the country. Number 4, I want to establish a program where we can add 15 employment consultants over the next 5 years. We're up to 14 now. We have a couple more that are going to be retiring. It's clear to me, after speaking with many of our employment consultants, that we have great faith in them, and they grade out very, very well, but they're overwhelmed right now. They've got a lot on their plate, and they're not able to meet the needs of our members like we really want them to. We need more of them. Next. We have 15 sections out of the 41 that actually have employment committees. I don't know what happened. They fell away. I believe the employment committees on that local level are vital for us. And we need to reinstitute them and also develop some turnkey programs that our sections can use to start reinventing and reinitiating some strength in employment locally. The employment committees work with the employment consultants, and they work with the section leaders. And at the end, we can work with the employers and identify how we can really enhance wage growth and job mobility and career advancement. Let's talk about sections. As I said earlier, we have 41 very unique sections, and I learned that very clearly when I traveled and spoke with all of you here during the last campaign. You know, each section has distinct geographical, socioeconomic, environmental factors that really give them their identity, their personality, so to speak. And there's no doubt in my mind that the section leaders are the ones most qualified to make those decisions based on their members and make those decisions based on how they feel they need to grow the game. It's vital. Those local sections, those sections need to have that independence and the ability to do that. And our national leaders have really worked hard in recent years to develop resources and deliver those goods and services to our sections. My talks with Derek and Pete and our board have since confirmed that we prioritize that delivery down to those sections. And at every turn, we try to identify ways to enhance those services to our sections so that they can in turn grow the game on the local level and serve the members. And they can better meet all of their regional objectives, if we allow them those resources. I want to share some of my plans that I believe will help our sections get better. As I said before, we need to work with staff, our finance committee, and our board to increase ADP funding. Paul mentioned yesterday, ADP funding is going to come to its end at $180,000 in 2019. Well, we need to start now identifying a way that we can map out how that ADP funding is going to increase beyond that. Just as we extended Pete's contract yesterday, it's vital that we know where we're heading with ADP funding so our sections can depend on it and budget for it and develop their programs surrounding it. We need to improve communication with our executive directors. We have our executive directors committee. We have our executive directors conference. But in all honesty, I feel, based on the conversations I have, that we're falling short here. Again, they're one of the most important people on that front, on that local front, and we've got to get their input. I want to introduce training tools designed to help the staff on sections. This can come from national. They're not mandatory, but they will assist the section and the section leaders in training their staff so that they're better, they're more efficient, and they're more technologically advanced in the operation of those sections. We need to develop leadership committees. These leadership committees are designed to call out people that might have an interest, young PGA professionals that might have an interest in getting involved with governance. How often in your sections do you have an office come available for secretary and you're beating the bushes to try and get people to run? We need to cultivate leaders. We need to inspire them to get involved and give back and volunteer their time. I want to create officer training programs similar to what we heard yesterday about the onboarding and the orientation for our incoming board members. We need to have that at the local level for our section officers so that they can hit the ground running, particularly when they get on board as secretary. As I said before, we need to add more employment consultants. We'll talk more about that. And again, we need to get back to establishing stronger section committees on that local level. Lastly, I feel really strongly about this. The more time that I speak with you all over the country, we need to revisit an opportunity where we can enhance our standing with government relations and opening the dialogue with the local legislative bodies here in your sections. You know, there are a lot of pitfalls out there, a lot of potential opportunities for doom, wage and hour, taxation, regulation, environment, water. There's so many things that impact our clubs and our PGA golf professionals. And we need to have an alliance with a lobbying effort in Washington, D.C. And this isn't just about National Golf Day in May. This is about 365 days a year where we can have some assistance in dealing with the local legislature on the local level and identify ways that we can enhance our facilities and take some of the burden off them so that they can start to thrive again. And additionally, that's going to help our PGA members. Lastly, that part that's really, really important, we need to do a better job of telling our story, the economic impact of golf in our states, in our sections, and nationally. And also the social impact, all the good things that golf brings to the people that play it and the communities that surround our golf courses. I want to tell you another story about a gentleman that I spoke with, Jason Woodworth. He's up at Moraga Country Club in Northern California. He's a director of golf there, and he's your typical PGA professional who's been doing more with less and dealing with some of those pitfalls that I've been talking to you about. They're on a 40% water restriction up at his club. His annual water bill was $350,000 last year, and that's after the 40% restriction. It's a real challenge for his club. When I called him up, he couldn't talk to me either. He was the only one in the golf shop. As the director of golf, he was working the phones in the shop by himself. So we're all doing more with less out there. I asked him again, Jason, how can I help you? How can the PGA of America help you in your job, in your career, in your life? And he really wasn't sure how to answer that. It became clear to me that Jason was really focused on his family and his business and his club. And his PGA, in all honesty, was the Northern California section. That was his PGA. It was local. And that was his security blanket. He really didn't think too much about what was going on down in Palm Beach Gardens. And do you hear that story a lot? We hear it all the time out there. The fact that I called Jason and struck up a relationship and asked him made him feel good. And this is the type of mindset that I think that we need to have moving forward, and this is something that I will champion. We need to reach out across the country to our PGA professionals, not just the delegates, not just the leaders, but what happens is we reinforce that we care about them and we create that buy-in. And we can be strong if we can get that buy-in and pull them into the circle. We need to reach out to our members. So let's talk about the game, my favorite part. Despite all we hear about declining rounds, we heard about the NGF report yesterday, about the loss of golfers and our industry struggling, I still believe that golf's best days are ahead of us. I know that the game of golf is just as strong, it's just as beautiful as it was when they invented it 500 years ago. It's a beautiful game. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but with all the negativity out there, I think it's important that we take a step back and we pause. And we think about all that is right with the game of golf, all that's right about it. USGA President Diana Murphy was just at her inauguration, and she said something that really struck me. She said, in recent years, there seems to be more doom and gloom hanging around golf than the sport deserves. And that although golf will always face challenges, it's time for all of us to get together and to be positive about golf and act accordingly. I couldn't agree more. And isn't that what the game teaches us? Just because we go through a rough patch here and there, we might make a bogey, it doesn't mean that we can't make a birdie on that next hole. It's time for us to start making some birdies. And it's time for us to start talking about the game in a positive light. So just for a moment, I'd like to have you think about something. How has golf positively impacted you? How has it impacted your career, your family? How have you seen golf change lives? Well, I can tell you, golf means everything to me. And it has for nearly 40 years. I met my wife because of golf. I remember exactly where I was standing at the Marriott World Center when I saw her across the room in that red dress. I remember the dress very vividly. And I remember that day clearly. And it was because of golf that we met. She's my partner in life. She's my partner at work. And she gave me 4 beautiful kids. Golf's given me so much. It's given me my family, lifelong friendships, my career, and it's introduced me to the greatest sports organization in the world, one that I intend to lead with your support. I don't know about you, but I like the fact that golf is challenging. I like the fact that in order to be good at golf, you've got to work hard at it. That's a good thing. And that's what we need to teach our kids. Golf provides life skills and core values to our young people. Healthy lifestyles for a society that's becoming increasingly sedentary. Golf is safe. Golf is fun. It's social. And it's great for the whole family. There's no other sport like it. In recent weeks and months, I've been speaking to some of our fellow leaders, staff members in Palm Beach Gardens about what I feel would be a refreshing new direction for the PGA to turn to. It's time to start celebrating golf and all that's good about it. And at every step of the way, we introduce the PGA Golf Professional, just like we have been with Thanks PGA Pro. I love it. We always introduce the PGA Professional as the steward of the game and the person that's best equipped to grow it and to be the friend of golfers. And here are 3 ways that I want to talk about how we can celebrate, protect, and advance the game of golf. I want to pull together our player development staff down in Palm Beach Gardens, our PDRMs, our marketing and communication specialists to develop an outreach plan, an initiative called Love Golf. I had a great talk last week with Randy Stutzman. He's the director of social media down at headquarters. And boy, I mean, he's really, really smart. We talked about establishing a content plan and focusing on tailoring our messages to different demographics, different types of people through the 20 to 30 social channels that are out there now. And those are the ones that we penetrate, like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and a couple of new ones that I didn't even know about called Vine. Have you heard of Vine? And Periscope, a little bit more video-oriented. How can we maximize those opportunities through the PGA Championship, the PGA Women's Championship, to drive people to PGA.com, the Olympics, and the Ryder Cup? Let's get them to our site. And more importantly, let's get those people to the doorsteps of our PGA professionals. What's great about this particular program, this particular initiative, is it's very inexpensive. It's far-reaching, and it gives us even an opportunity to drive revenues for the association to support our player development programs. It's self-sustaining. There's no better way to target our juniors, our families, our millennials, and the players who represent the future of the game. You know, we aren't the only ones in the world here that are in this industry. You know, you've heard strength in numbers, strength in numbers. We need to continue to solidify our partnerships with our allied associations. We need to sit down with them, and we're doing a good job with that. I think we can do a better job of sitting down with them, identifying ways to develop national marketing strategies and initiatives to tell people the story of golf. We're all in this together, but I do believe the PGA is going to lead this march. We have some great player development programs. PGA Junior League Golf, Get Golf Ready, Drive, Chip, and Putt. They've all had success in recent years. They're all growing. But you know what? We can't just rest on our laurels there. We've got to continue to work with our PDRMs, our youth player development programs, our player development program committees to identify next step opportunities to continue to make these particular development programs relevant, fresh, innovative. And also, I feel strongly about this, we need to take a close look at developmental portions to these programs. My son's 13, and we went to Drive, Chip, and Putt last year. And you know, he loves golf, but he's not a great player yet. But when you went to this Drive, Chip, and Putt, I mean, these kids were superstars out there. And I'll have to be honest with you, it intimidated him. He's a type of candidate that we better serve for a developmental type program. And maybe he doesn't go to Augusta, but that's okay. Maybe we can develop another tour, a developmental tour that can get those kids going someplace else. And that's going to help us to open that floodgates to more and more people that might be interested, more and more kids that might be interested in the game of golf. So these are the types of things that we need to work on. And we're doing some good jobs on the community level, but we need to step up. We need to put our foot on the gas pedal here. These are great initiatives. These are great marketing plans. But you know what? Every one of us can start today. We don't have to wait for these programs to be launched. I challenge each and every one of you, when you leave this meeting, to go back home and sing the praises of the game of golf. Sing the praises of the PGA to your customers, but also to your fellow PGA members out there. They listen to you. Let's not let the industry experts, the pundits, let's not let them get us down. Let's not let them perpetuate what could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. We all must play our part. We must sing golf's praises. And as long as we stand together in this and positively work to make things better, we can overcome any obstacles. Can I get you to join me on this? Thank you. So why Russ Libby? Why Russ Libby as your next PGA secretary? Is it because of my love for the game, my passion for the PGA of America? Is it because of my 35 years in the industry or my 20 years of service on the local levels, national levels? Is it because of my leadership success? Maybe it's for the way I lead, as a problem solver, a forward thinker, a leader that reaches out, solicits input from others, and builds consensus. Someone that's not afraid to make the tough decision, but a decision that's always based on the well-being of the game and our PGA members. Maybe it's for the fact that I have experience at every single facility type in many different capacities. I played for a while. I was an instructor, a head golf professional, a director of golf, a general manager, and now, of course, Tracy and I own Hidden Hills Country Club in Jacksonville. I've been in your shoes. I've been in our members' shoes, and I know what they deal with on a day in and day out basis. I can and I will represent our members and you well. Maybe it's because of all these things. But one thing's for certain, I do believe it's go time. And my extensive background in the industry and in leadership has prepared me well for this journey ahead. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to serve you and lead this association into the next great PGA century. I want to thank you for your time today. Thanks for your support. And I really would appreciate your vote in New York City. Thank you. So I guess we have a few minutes here. If you'd like to ask me a few questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Anybody? Well, I'm looking forward to spending more time with you this week in the district meetings and the district wrap-up. And I thank you again for your time. Thanks for the opportunity, and enjoy the rest of your day.